a lot of Christians really are split on this issue. Now, when we're talking about the Palestine-Israel conflict, I want to get into some things that you said, but is beyond the war itself, this new film that focuses on this division was the social aspect of what you're seeing dividing the right, your own disagreements with Tucker Carlson. Like when you said this, you said the problem with Tucker is not that he's bad for Israel, he's bad for Trump and MAGA. He's trying to rip MAGA apart ideologically and generationally. I don't know his motives, but who can be blind to the effect of his actions, and who benefits? The left, the Islamic jihadis. I mean, you're claiming that Tucker, who of course is a friend and colleague of both of ours, we both worked with, is, whether intentionally or unintentionally, the way the side he's taking in this conflict, the side that he's promoting, and the people that he's platforming is literally being destructive. And that's pretty crazy to see you fighting. You guys are both prominent people, and then you make this film. Was this just promo for your film, or like why do you feel this way, and what led you to make this movie?
Well, the two are actually somewhat distinct, although I recognize they've been somewhat blurred because my film is just out this week. Look, here's the point. I wrote in a book that came out about 2008 or 2009 that we were likely to see something very remarkable emerging, and that is a weird alliance, a strange bedfellows between the cultural left in the West, let's call it the LGBTQ left, on the one hand, and the radical Islamic jihadis on the other. Now, when I said this, people were like, Dinesh, you're out of your mind. These two groups are not compatible. Are you really saying that the Folsom Street gays can go and make peace, and they can go and belong somehow in Gaza or with the mullahs in Iran? Are you saying that these Islamic jihadis would be comfortable in a kind of left-wing salon where you have all these orgies and all this stuff going on? No. But nevertheless, they're joined at the hip, these two groups. They marched together at Columbia University. They have made common cause with each other. Why? Because they hate the same people. And who are the same people? Israel and the Jews on the one hand, and Christians and the West on the other. So leaving aside any debate on our side, this configuration has been created outside of us. The Islamic jihadis and the left have partnered, regardless of what Tucker Carlson or Candace or anybody have done. They did that first. Now, that leaves us on the other side. We are the declared enemy, right? The little Satan, Israel, we the West and America are the big Satan. And so the only question for us is, are we going to recognize who our enemies are, identify our friends, ally with our friends to undermine those enemies, or are we going to declare each other, meaning Israel and the United States are going to declare each other to be the enemy, fracture our own side, strengthen both radical Islam and the cultural left in the process? I mean, this is not biblical analysis. This is the very simple mechanics of realpolitik. This is recognizing that you have a declared enemy, and either you wake up to that fact or you start fighting among yourself and weaken your own side.
Right. So I want to pick your brain on that, because obviously the film is called The Dragon Prophecy. It's based on a book, and I want to know a little bit about what the dragon prophecy is in the Bible and how it relates to modern day Israel. But I want to presuppose something. What I don't understand about your position is, number one, you make a video like this that's reasonable, and I see nothing wrong with going out and like interviewing survivors of October 7th attack, because, as somebody now, even with faith in God, I don't believe, even if they're occupiers, even if I understand politically, I can understand why they did what they did, but I don't think it justifies doing what they did. I can understand why somebody kills an ex-wife who cheats on them or does something that they're mad about, but I don't think that it's necessarily a right thing to do. Even if it does logically make sense, I do think it was immoral. However, I also believe that Israel let this happen. I think that when you look at stand down orders from some of their generals, when you look at the way that they indiscriminately fired from the Apache helicopters that might have caused necessary civilian and collateral damage, when you see the fact that they have this extreme surveillance system, and then they couldn't detect like third world paragliders, I feel like we have another situation where you have a far right government that is very unpopular with people. They allow this event to happen, and they let their people be killed to get a war that they wanted. And I maybe you could disagree with me on this. To me, it's like I get frustrated because it's like I don't support Muslims. I don't like Islam, I don't support Muslims in my country, but I also firmly believe that the reason why we have so many low IQ Muslims in the West, particularly in Europe, is frankly due to the fact that we've fought 25 years of nonstop Israeli-inspired and Israeli-influenced wars from our government. And it feels like we're being asked to support Israel or Palestine. And a lot of us are like, could we just leave these people alone? And can you just leave us out of this? Because we don't want anything to do with it. How do you address that on the right? People like myself who are kind of like not pro-Palestine, but we're also not pro-Israel by any means. And we're not anti-Semitic. We're not against the Jews. We just do not like this regime and what they've done to capture, we believe, the political influence of our country.
So it looks to me that what you're missing here is that a lot of the United States being, quote, dragged into all this has absolutely nothing to do with Israel and a lot to do with the incredible stupidity of our own leaders. Let's just look at a couple of examples. Jimmy Carter pulls out the Persian rug from the Shah, and we get Khomeini. The United States is complicit in enabling radical Islam to get a hold of a major state. What did Israel have to do with that? Absolutely nothing. Sheer incompetence on our part. Then after 9/11, which by the way, notice that like October 7th, we missed that one completely. In fact, we had a lot more advance warnings than Israel did, right? We had the bombing of the embassies, the bombing of Khobar Towers, the attack on the USS Cole, and yet we completely missed, and by we I mean everybody, the CIA, the Clinton administration completely missed, the Bush administration, the incoming Bush administration completely missed it. And so that can be explained by the fact that we were out to lunch. Just like Israel, I think, is so divided. They were trying to impeach Netanyahu. There was lawfare going against him the same way as it was against Trump. There was a big fight about the Supreme Court. So deep polarization within Israel. And I think that is the main reason why the Israelis completely took their eye off the ball. They're focused on tearing each other apart. And they didn't see that Hamas would come really almost ancient style on gliders and just with motorcycles right over the fence. So that's the second point. The third point is we get into the Iraq war. There's no reason to believe that this is in Israel's interests at all. Here's why. Israel for a long time has supported secular dictators in that region, by the way, including the Shah, including Saddam Hussein, as a way of fighting against radical Islam. For some reason, the Bush administration decides that even though there's no tie at all between 9/11 and Saddam Hussein, we're going to go over there and pulverize Saddam Hussein. This is not in the interests of Israel, and there's no evidence that Israel, quote, made us do it. The neocons here, yes. Israel, no. Now, turning to like Israel itself, look, I mean, these guys know what they're doing, and we don't. I mean, do you think that our bungling CIA, these men in their high heels who go to DEI seminars, you think that these guys could have pulled off that pager attack that Israel did on these jihadis? I mean, that was strategic brilliance, flawlessly executed. And so what I'm getting at is when we are fighting radical Islam and we don't know what the hell we're doing, and you've got a group of people who are on the scene, they are fighting radical Islam in Yemen and in Sudan and of course in Iran. And mostly they're the ones who pulverized Iran. We didn't. At the last minute, they called Trump and he loaned them a B-2 bomber for like 48 hours. You don't think that's a good price to pay in terms of return on investment? Yeah, if Iran is deprived of nuclear weapons for 30 years, that's good for Israel, but it's 10 times better for us. Because as you just said, there's a global jihadi movement here, and the jihadis in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia, in Pakistan, they don't care about Gaza. They don't spend 5 minutes thinking about the Palestinians. Their goal is to infiltrate Australia and Canada and Europe and the United States. So we have to be aware of this much larger threat. If you're saying that we shouldn't give Israel $3.8 billion, we should give them $1 billion, or don't give them any money at all, I mean, I want to have that debate with you. We give so much more money to other places that give us the middle finger and do absolutely nothing for us. So my prudential view is that on the balance, I think we are getting a pretty good ROI. But look, Elijah, you and I should not be fighting about this. The main threat that we both face is the left in this country, a left that has made common cause with these radical Muslims, people like Ilhan Omar, like Mamdani. So if you're saying we need to focus primarily on what's going on within our country, I agree. If you think we should view all of this within the lens of America first, I agree. I'm not Israel first. I'm not obsessed with Israel. Elijah, you know me well. I've been making movies for about 12 years. I've made 7 of them. I haven't touched the topic of Israel. I've never written a book on Israel in 30 years. So I think I can claim legitimately that I'm interested in this topic. I was sort of drawn into it sideways because of my interest in biblical archaeology. Then I got sort of drawn into October 7th. So the film developed in that way. It certainly didn't develop to go into a fight with Tucker Carlson, but hey, here we are.